Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be breaking down the Packers week 12. Yeah, that's what week we're on. Domination of admittedly very injured 49ers team, but as a Packers fan who has seen this team struggle against San Fran for the past decade and a half, basically ever since Colin Kaepernick took over as quarterback, having a game where we just blew them out of the water after the playoff loss last year, NFC Division Round 2021, NFC Championship game 2019, and the two other Kaepernick games before that, I believe 2012 and 2013. Having a game where we finally dominated them. Granted, they were injured to hell this year, but that ain't going to stop me from being happy because the Packers whooped their butts. Final score of 38-10 off of a strong defensive performance and a strong run game led by Josh Jacobs. And before we get into the scoring breakdown, player stats, and my overall thoughts of the game, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And let's go get started with the scoring. Start off in the first quarter with a Tucker Kraft 11-yard touchdown pass from Jordan Love, 7-0 Green Bay lead. Brandon McManus hit a 51-yard field goal for a 10-0 lead as the first quarter was coming to an end. Second quarter, Josh Jacobs had a 1-yard touchdown run, 17-0 Green Bay over San Fran. Minute left in the second quarter, George Kittle caught a 3-yard touchdown pass from Brandon Allen, 17-7 Green Bay over San Fran. Packers in the third quarter had a 1-yard touchdown rush by Josh Jacobs to make it 24-7. Jake Moody then hit a 48-yard field goal for the 24-10 San Francisco deficit. Then in the fourth quarter, Josh Jacobs had another 1-yard touchdown run, 31-10 Green Bay. And then Malik Heath, about 5 minutes left in the game, caught a beautiful end zone throw from Jordan Love for the final score of 38-10. So we take a look at the full box. We go to box score here now. Jordan Love was okay. 13 for 23, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, got sacked twice, had a QBR of 57 and a pass rating of 107.7. There were a couple of throws where he threw it straight to San Francisco that they dropped the interception with, which why couldn't they have done that last year? We would have won a divisional round, but that's okay. Also, there was a couple of key drops, especially there was a drive the Packers went right before the first half came to an end, threw an absolute beautiful dot to Christian Watson that would have been a 49-yard touchdown that was dropped by Watson. That should have been a touchdown there. But yeah, that's kind of was the story. Drops and a couple of by both teams here. But hey, he didn't turn the ball over. That's all he can ask for at this point. The run game is where the Packers ate. Josh Jacobs, 26 carries, 106 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, averaged 4 yards a pop. Emmanuel Wilson, 9 for 41, 4.6 yards per pop as well. So 169 total rushing yards for the Packers, which is impressive. Receiving, Romeo Doubs was a leading receiver, 3 for 54. Did lead the game early with a concussion. His status for Thursday is going to be up in the air. Kraft, 2 for 26 and a touchdown. Reed, 3 for 26. Wicks, 1 for 25. Heath, 2 for 15 and a touchdown as well. And John Fitzpatrick, who I didn't even know was a player, 1 catch for 2 yards. So good for you, John. Fumbles. The Packers forced quite a few fumbles, recovered 2 of them. 1 recovered by Kenny Clark and 1 covered by Carl Brooks. The 49ers had 5 total fumbles, lost 2 of them. Then we'll get to the defense. Quay Walker actually had a good game. 7 total tackles, 6 solo, 2 tackles for loss. He was in a backfield teaching down McCaffrey. Had a pass deflection that should have been a pick for him. So good job, Quay. Javon Bullard also made some good plays as well on the defense. Almost had an interception as well, but instead it was like a 2-yard completion to Jawan James, but made an absolute break for the ball there. Evan Williams was good. Xavier McKinney was fantastic. 3 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 pass deflections, including when the game was getting kind of close and 49ers could have made it a 1-score game. They went for it on 4th and 2, trying to get to McCaffrey, and McKinney shut that down. Great game for McKinney. Lucas Van Ness had a strip sack. Kind of used his head to get the sack there. So very, very impressed with Van Ness in this game. Although he did have a stupid penalty as well. Rashawn Gary also had a sack as well. Wooden had a TFL. QB hits. Van Ness had 1. Clark had one. Wyatt had one. And, of course, Gary had a sack as well. So, able to generate a little bit of pressure here, but we'll get into something else here in a minute. Interceptions, McKinney, 1 for 48 yards. Ballantyne actually had a kick return here today. Reed had a punt return. McManus, perfect on kicks, made all 5 extra points and made a 51-yard field goal, so good for him. And Dan Whelan continues to be an amazing punter. 4 punts for 195 yards, average of 48.8, and 1 inside of 20 and a long of 59. And defensively, we really held the 49ers in check. They had 199 yards receiving, which Kittle basically ate us. I figured out what happened. He is their best target right now. 6 for 82 and a touchdown. But the main guy I was scared for was Christian McCaffrey. Because last week against the Bears, the Packers' run defense was pretty atrocious. But today, when I thought San Fran was going to try to run the ball more, the Packers only gave up 44 rushing yards. McCaffrey, 11 carries, 31 yards, 2.8 yards per rush. That was the average for the whole team as well. So, very impressive showing by the Packers' run defense here. They were also able to handle the San Francisco passing offense as well. And there was no mistakes by Green Bay either. So, very, very good performance from the Packers. So, we'll take a look at the team stats here. Packers had way more first downs, way more total yards, more plays. 49ers had more drives. They actually had more passing yards than the Packers. But we dominated in the run game, dominated in times of possession, 36 minutes for time of possession for Packers compared to 23 for San Fran. They also had 3 turnovers. We had none. We won the turnover battle there. Red zone attempts, which was a big struggle for the Packers heading into this game. They were a perfect 5 for 5 on scoring touchdowns. Also, penalties. San Francisco is 9 for 77. Green Bay only 5 for 40. So they have been really cleaning up on the penalties as well. And overall, for guys I'm impressed with, gotta start off with Josh Jacobs. This dude has been a difference maker in his offense. Like, I love Aaron Jones. I think he's still a really solid back in Minnesota, as we saw this week. He had a 100-yard game this week. But with Josh Jacobs, there's just something different, more physical. Jones is more of a shifty electric bag. Jacobs will run you over, and he did multiple times, breaking 15 tackles against his 49ers defense, who for the first time in 55 games gave up a 100-yard rusher, and it was to Josh Jacobs, and he bullied his way for touchdowns as well. So yeah, gotta shout out Josh Jacobs there. Wilson also had some good carries as well. Tucker Kraft, gotta shout him out, did some great run blocking. And on his touchdown grab, absolutely ran over Josh Myers, our starting center, to get in the end zone. And he is turning out to be a pretty solid tight end, a good third-round pick for the Packers. Also, got to shout out the offensive line in general. They were mauling San Fran, giving us very good running lanes as well. So, yeah, shout out Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, Sean Ryan, and Zach Tom. All did really well on today's game. And then on the defensive side, Quay Walker actually can shout you out for a good thing, man. Very, very impressive. The best game of your year so far. And I just hope that you continue to not be trash. Javon Bullard, first really darn good game as a pro. Very exciting to see that from him as well. Xavier McKinney already shouted out. Dude has been incredible. Him and Josh Jacobs have been amazing free agent signings for the Packers. Very, very happy with what I've seen for them. Lucas Van Ness got a sack, generated some pressure. Did have a couple mental errors on penalties, but hey, if you get a sack in a forced fumble in the game, you're okay. Rashawn Gary's becoming alive more recently. May have some good pressures as well. So yeah, very good for the Packers here. So take a look around. The Packers have a very short week this week as we are playing the Dolphins in Lambeau on Thursday Night Football, Thanksgiving edition. So it'll be interesting to see how healthy we are after this. The Dolphins have been coming alive more recently. They have a pretty strong offense with Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. So it'll be interesting to see how our defense is able to come up against that and our offense against their defense as well. And then we have another Thursday night game against the Lions. That will be a very, very tough game for Green Bay. We were at Seattle, home against the Saints. These two are very winnable. At the Vikings, very winnable. And for home against the Bears, very winnable. So the Packers have a strong could have a strong end to the season here, with the only really, really difficult game I can see us losing pretty handily is against the Lions. But overall, yeah, we're 8-3. Somehow still third in the NFC North because the Vikings continue to squeak by games they should lose. I mean, to be fair, we almost lost to the Bears too, so I can't really blame the Vikings for that. But yeah, 8-3. I believe we are currently in. Let's take a look at the standings right now. Currently in the conference here. Look at playoff. We are currently the 6th seed. So the playoffs ended today. We will be traveling to Seattle. What we want to do, we want to avoid playing Philly because we want to face either Seattle or Atlanta, two very beatable teams. Because right now we have Detroit, Philly, Seattle, Atlanta, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Washington making the playoffs. But Arizona and Tampa Bay are coming up fast as well. So, yeah, the Packers should be able to make the playoffs here, but highly doubt we'll win the division. We need the Lions to lose 2 games, basically. I don't see that happening because the Lions are good. But that is what we have for today. Packers able to exercise some demons against a beat-up San Francisco squad. And we just need to get some rest and recovery for Thursday night against the Dolphins, which I cannot wait for as I'm going to be sitting with my in-laws watching the Packers. Nothing gets better than that. So, I'll see you guys again very soon. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.